All right, let's jump right in. Have you ever wondered how a huge company, actually works? How does it all run so smoothly, day in and day out? Well, it's definitely not magic. It's this powerful and often invisible engine called business process management. And today, we're going to pop the hood and see exactly how that engine is built.
So, to get us thinking, let me ask you something. What could buying a concert ticket online possibly have in common with a company hiring a brand new employee? I mean, one is a few clicks and you're done. The other is this long process of applications, interviews, and offers. They seem totally different, right?
Well, it turns out they're actually the same thing at their core. They are both business processes. Each one is a specific series of steps, decisions, and actions that are all designed to get to one specific outcome. For one, it's a ticket in your inbox. For the other, it's a new person joining the team. And that simple idea, that's the foundation for everything we're going to talk about. Which brings us perfectly to our first big idea. Once you start looking for them, you realize that processes are, quite literally, everywhere. They are the absolute bedrock of how any organization, big or small, gets anything done.
And you've seen these a million times, even if you didn't use these names. Order to cash, that's the entire journey of you buying something online. Procure-to-Pay, that's how the coffee shop down the street gets its beans and milk. And application to approval, well, that's how you get into a university, get a loan, you name it. They're all just structured recipes for getting a job done.
And this visual here is the perfect way to think about it. A process is just like a blueprint. It lays out the whole plan. It shows you exactly how work should flow through the organization. You can see it starts with a need, a trigger, like someone saying, hey, we need new equipment. And then it guides you through every step and every decision all the way to the final outcome. Okay, so if a process is the blueprint, what's it made of? What are the actual building blocks? Let's break it down and look at the essential ingredients that make up any process. Okay, here's the official definition, and it sounds a little academic, but let's pull it apart. It's basically a collection of related stuff. You have events, the things that kick it all off. You have activities, that's the actual work being done. And you have decision points, the forks in the road. It involves actors, who are just the people or even the computer systems doing the work. And it involves objects, like a form or a product. The whole point? To bring all that together to create something valuable for a customer. Simple as that. And boom, here it is, all laid out visually. See how business process is right there in the middle, connecting everything. It's made up of those events, activities, and decision points we just talked about. You can see the actors, the people, and the objects they work on. All of these ingredients mix together to create that final outcome, which, at the end of the day, delivers value to a customer. Now, this idea of making work more efficient, it is not new, not by a long shot. In fact, humanity's quest for getting things done better has a really fascinating history. So let's take a quick trip back in time and see where this all came from. It really all started way back with Adam Smith, who pointed out the insane power of just breaking a job down into smaller, simpler tasks. Then, in the early 1900s, Frederick Taylor came along with his scientific management, which was all about finding the one best way to do any task. Fast forward to the 90s, and you get this explosion of business process reengineering, where companies were encouraged to just tear everything down and start from scratch. Each of these steps built on the one before it, and they all led us to the modern holistic approach we call BPM today. This quote from Adam Smith is just mind-blowing. Think about it. He saw that by breaking down pin making into about 18 different steps, a small team of 10 guys could make 48,000 pins in one day. But if each of them tried to do it all by themselves, they might not even make one. That right there is the staggering power of a well-designed process, and this was long before a single computer existed. So that brings us to the real heart of modern BPM, the management lifecycle. And the key word here is lifecycle. This isn't about a one-time fix. It's a continuous, never-ending cycle of improvement. It's a systematic loop for making your processes better, and then better again. And here's the definition of BPM itself. I absolutely love that it's called both an art and a science. It's a science because you're using data, you're analyzing things, but it's an art because it takes real creativity and human insight to imagine a totally new way of working. It's all about getting consistent results while always looking for ways to improve. So, this cycle is the crucial part. Let's walk through it real quick. It all starts with identification, just figuring out what your processes even are. Then you move to discovery, which is where you document how things work right now. We call this the as-is process. Next up is analysis, where you put on your detective hat and find all the bottlenecks and problems. That leads directly to redesign, where you dream up a better way, the to-be process. Then comes the hard part, implementation, which means actually making the changes happen, and that often involves new tech. And finally, you monitor it. You track it, you measure it, and what you learn feeds right back into the next round of improvements. It just keeps going.
Okay, so we know what processes are, and we know how to manage them in this life cycle. But so what? Why does this matter so much, especially right now? Let's tie all of this back to the real-world value it creates.
When it comes down to it, companies do this for some very real bottom-line reasons. They want to slash costs, they want to get things done way faster, they want to stop making clumsy errors. All of that leads directly to happier customers. And in a lot of fields, having crystal clear processes is the only way you can prove you're following the rules and staying compliant.
And look, in today's world, you just can't talk about BPM without talking about technology. Information systems are what make modern BPM possible. They're the key enabler. And they don't just speed up one little step. They're the glue that coordinates the entire flow of work as it moves between different people and different departments. They make sure nothing gets dropped. And this, right here, might be the biggest takeaway of all. For the best companies in the world, BPM isn't just about tidying things up in the back office. They treat their core processes like gold, as primary strategic assets. Because if your process for developing a new product or serving a customer is fundamentally better, faster, or cheaper than your competitors, well, that's not just an improvement. That's how you win. So we'll end on this thought. Every single business, whether it's a food truck or a global corporation, runs on processes. That's a fact. The only question is, are those processes just a jumbled mess that happened by accident, or are they meticulously designed to help you win? That, right there, is the whole point of business process management. Thanks so much for digging into this with me.